So how have you handled setbacks throughout your career?
I still get affected a lot. Maybe I still struggle with it a bit.
A lot of personal involvement, I guess, that that makes a good coach, I would say.
For sure. I think you would know how to answer that question.
Yeah, for sure.
But I think I still remember one incident, like after the Grand Slam, one of my worst tournament of all time probably.
Yes.
Like we were leaving for the airport at 4 a.m. the next morning. It was so cold outside. He just woke up to just say bye to me.
How do you manage the expectations that surround you?
Like I was not fully ready for the challenge at that time. I was putting too much pressure on myself, and I played the same way, and I was punished for it.
What does chess mean to you personally?
Like I don't know what it means to me, but it is. I know that it's just a part of me.
So Gukesh, as now the youngest world champion, it is a special privilege for me to talk with you. And let's go over your journey so far and the lessons, the mindsets, and whatever learnings you've achieved so far. Let's go through that. So my first question to you would be like, at what age did you realize chess would play a significant role in your life? And how did you approach your training in the early stages? What did it look like?
Yeah, like I started around 7, and at that time, like I was just too young to realize what a career and what I should be doing in life, anything like that. I just knew I enjoyed chess, so I was mostly spending time with chess. And I think the moment where I was mature enough to understand what the career is, I was already like quite good at it, so it was an obvious choice. My parents and you were like they were, I mean, all the trainers, yourself, you were the one who noticed the talent and all the opportunities. So, yeah.
What was the key moment that convinced you to be a professional, right? So for me, when we were chasing this youngest grandmaster title, right? So in 2018, when you got that GM norm in the Bangkok Open, there was a little bit of luck in that, but there was a lot of fight and resilience that you showed at that very young age. So I thought that you had a very real chance of getting to this youngest grandmaster title. For me, that was one moment that gave me a lot of confidence to pursue this more deeply. Do you have any moments like that in your mind where you said, I should go all the way, something like that?
I think like the main period where I really felt like I could just go to the very, very top is probably around the pandemic time, because at that, like till pandemic, I was just playing all the time. I was training, but mostly playing, and
there was not a lot of time for reflection.
Yeah, not a time for thinking or reflection or like improvement, anything like that. I was just playing. Although my ranking was up, it did not really feel like it was like in a structured way. But then in the lockdown, I got a lot of time to get my training plans and get disciplined and like all these things. And I think this lockdown period I managed to use very well. And I think once I started training like a real professional, I got this confidence, and I think soon I also got the results, which was very nice.
Right. So you use the lockdown to become a all-round athlete as such. Yeah.
I think so.
Yeah, that's a very good point. What is your mental preparation before an important game? And throughout you've had these ups and downs, but personally I've also seen that you begin to recover well from bad results compared to each passing tournament or each passing year. How did you achieve that, and what is your mental preparation before a tournament or throughout?
Main thing that I was struggling with when I was young was like not to get the result of the previous game to the next round, be it like win or loss. And I think I was like struggling with it. Maybe I still struggle with it a bit, but over the years with some like good practices, good habits, I think like yoga, meditation, I managed to I still get affected a lot, but I managed to recover like quicker than before. And I think we also spoke a lot about
Yeah.
that. So yeah, I think I also maybe at that time when I was struggling, I was too immature.
Yeah, so too young.
Yeah, too young. So that's also understandable.
So consistent practice over a long time have helped you deal with it.
For sure, meditation, all this stuff really helped.
How have you handled setbacks throughout your career? I mean, for my mind, there are like few moments which are probably really painful. Missing the youngest grandmaster by 16 days, and of course, losing to Magnus in the World Cup semi-final. Probably that was a big blow. How did you take these moments and recover from them, and also what have you learned from them, especially now looking back at it?
I think the two there have been like setbacks, like minor setbacks, losing a bad game or bad tournament, stuff like that. But I think the main two phases where I was really struggling was the 1 year where I was trying to break this GM record. Now that I look back at it, it didn't make sense, but that time it was like a big thing for me. And the other thing is the qualification to the candidates. I think this has been still the biggest challenge. Like emotionally I've felt. So I think these phases also maybe I was I was not fully ready for the challenge at that time. I think I was putting too much pressure on myself. I managed to overcome these phases when I accepted that I accepted that there is a possibility to fail and it's okay.
Wow. Okay. So you accepted that there was a possibility to fail and it was okay, even if that happened.
Yeah, because when I was having this thought like, okay, if I don't make this, it's like really bad, then it just created more pressure.
Right. So that's kind of like a very high level of expectations that you have on yourself, I think.
Yeah.
I mean, that's another question that I have. Like, how do you manage the expectations that surround you, right? So nobody expects the same thing out of a 17-year-old or an 18-year-old, right? So, I mean, that's something that the world has, but it seems that you have your own expectations, which are probably even more stricter or even more deep than what the public or people around you have. You have your own expectations, which are very huge. So how have you dealt with that?
So I think one of my biggest strengths and weaknesses has been my ambition. Yeah, both on and off the board. And I think it's no third person has bigger expectations of myself than what I have. And sometimes it has been been a negative also. But I think recently I've managed to balance this ambition with some practical goals, and even over the board I managed to be more objective. So in general I expect a lot out of myself, but also I think it's important that I have some practical thinking.
Yeah, nobody can argue that it has not worked well for you or something, because definitely there's no need to get into the candidates the first time or win the candidates at the first attempt, but you always have that expectation, and it has helped you a lot. So can you share an example of a particularly challenging moment and how you overcame it, right? So whether you're able to compete, finding it competed at a certain level, or trying to achieve something which was very hard, and how did you deal with that?
I think this was what I experienced the first time I played in the elite event. So Tata Steel 23 was my first elite event, and I started off very badly because I was not able to make the transition from open tournament, beating these 2600s or 2500s, and then facing the Caruanas or Source. And I played the same way, and I was punished for it. So I think it was the Tata Steel 23 event was such an important tournament for me too. It was a bad tournament, but I learned so much from it. I learned what I need to change, what I need to improve on, what are my strengths, and what are my opponents trying to make use out of my style. So I think the things I learned really helped over the last 2 years. So
Yeah.
yeah.
You had a lot of growth there. I mean, after Tata Steel, you immediately finished joint first, if I'm not wrong, for
in
WR Master.
Master.
So quick learner. Yeah. So I remember that crisis that you had between the spectacular Olympiad 2022, right? So you had probably one of the best Olympiad performances, which you probably overtook in 24. You know, you were trying to recreate that form for the next 6 months and, you know, having these ups and downs, these moments of frustration. I remember those quite clearly. And in Tata Steel 23, after beating Parham, I think it all changed for you probably. And one thing that you said kind of stuck in my head, you know, people have different ways of dealing with this, but you said at the time that, you know, I want to focus more on my chess rather than all the psychology. Let me just work a little bit more. That's what you had said to me at the time, and that worked well for you. Yeah.
At that point, like more than my psychology, it was my pure chess weaknesses that were showing up. Be it like my ambition, or like I mean,
Right.
it was maybe I was even trying to play for a win with black against Caruana, which when I was on -3, which is just crazy. So, like the things like that I needed to improve. And
Yeah. So being over ambitious, and the guys at the elite level don't give you the same space for winning games, right?
Yeah.
So you'll have to be a bit more objective. You learned that. That was your first experience, I guess,
Yeah.
at the elite groups. How has your coaching team helped you grow as a player, and what qualities do you think make a great coach?
I think like from the time I started playing chess, from my first coach, like from first coach Bhaskar sir, and then Vijayanand sir, briefly worked with GM Karthikeyan. So all of them, like especially my first two coaches, really developed this respect I have for chess. Like
Yeah.
I mean, my first coach used to tell me all the stories about about chess classics, and about all the players, and like develop this curiosity, love for the game. Like he made it even more deeper, and it's my core of like everything
Yeah.
I do. So
We can see you arranging the pieces after winning the match. That
Yeah.
was a big moment, and I think it's something that ingrained from you from the first coach,
yeah,
Mr. Bhaskar.
he was always telling his students to like respect the board, respect the game, like not because it's like he always used to say only if you respect the craft, it will respect you back. And then like we both worked for like
Yeah.
7 years, 7 or close to 7 years, and before I made my first time.
Yes,
Now we
you made your
started-
first time norm right after, few months after we worked.
Yeah.
Malaysia, I think.
In Malaysia.
Yeah.
So, like that time, I think it was like what I clearly gained a lot from you is this psychology part of the game, because before that, I was also too young to think about that. But
Yeah.
like we spoke and discussed a lot about psychology and how it's related to the decisions we make. And these things, like I gained a lot, and I think it's one of the one of the things that I value the most right now. So the psychological part of the game, and then I think when I was making this transition from the open tournaments to the elite level, like we were super lucky to have Gayevsky work with us, and
Yeah.
it also fortunately played out that Gayu is also like very interested in the psychological part, so our thoughts aligned in that way. And also my opening preparation, my general overall chess level, he has a lot of experience in the elite, so that was quite nice.
Yeah. So I remember that in 2023 when you were going in, probably you were the least prepared. And in the match you were throwing ideas left and right, and probably much better prepared than even Ding, I would say, I would argue. And he was also, I think, very patient with you to try to open up, and slowly he's been able. You guys are good, probably the team right now.
Yeah, me and Gayu, I think, like initially the first few tournaments we were working, it was like we were working on openings. It was fun, but I think where we really gained this like trust or like this bond between us was Also in this candidates qualification period. I mean, the
Yes.
first time he traveled with me was Norway. It was a lot of fun also.
Yeah.
But I think I still remember one incident, like after the Grand Swiss, my worst tournament of all time
Yes.
probably. Like we were leaving for the airport at 4 a.m. the next morning. It was so cold outside. He just woke up to just say bye to me, and
Okay.
like these things, like just, I mean,
Yeah.
he was there for me even like when at my worst, and we were still working with full enthusiasm.
Yeah. I think he had a lot of faith in what you could do, and you proved him right as well. Definitely, there's a lot of personal involvement, I guess,
Yeah.
that makes a good coach, I would say.
For sure. I think you would know how to answer that question better.
Yeah, for sure. So, how do you balance technical preparation with openings or end games, or like opening study, end game study? There's a lot to work on, and so on, and other aspects like resilience, stress, objectivity, like you said, ambition. How do you balance the two in your overall training regime? Or you think that those things we cannot really argue that it comes from experience, because you won everything on the first thing, right? So what is the secret in your training for that?
I think, like as we have discussed a lot, and like the decisions we make is not, it's
Yeah.
most of the time affected by what we are feeling at that moment.
Yes,
So
for sure.
I think, like one of the things we discussed, and I've discussed with Gayu or Paddy or many people that I've worked with, is like just to be aware of what we are feeling in that moment, and not let that dictate what we are doing in the moment. So yeah, my main thing is to have this self-awareness, I think.
How do you cultivate that in training?
Like I think a lot of discussions about this topic.
So contemplating about it, thinking about it.
Thinking about it, like discussing and trying to even in practice, trying to like
See how you're feeling.
see how you're feeling and stuff like that.
I'm sure that millions of people are inspired by you now. There are like so many new players who are going to come up just looking at you. And what advice would you give them to pursue chess? And what do you think were some mistakes you would like to take back from your career? There are many, but you can just choose whatever bothers you.
Yeah, I think the advice, like to anyone, not just the youngsters, but to anyone, like the strongest advice I've gotten is mostly the simple ones. Yeah, just to like just enjoy whatever you're doing. I mean, enjoy chess in my case, and like be in the present moment, and like all these very simple things, but we tend to forget it a lot. Yeah. So,
There are no complex solutions. Yeah.
So enjoy what you're doing and be in the present. Always stay level-headed. And, like only these simple advices come back to me time to time, and make me realize what made me come here. So I think this, and like what mistakes I've made, I probably like a lot, but I also feel like some mistakes you just have to make to learn from it. So I think now that I look back at it, like when I was making this transition, I was ambitious, which was good, but I could have like let my I could have stopped my ambition from taking over me in some positions.
Right. So
that would have costed, and that would have saved me a lot of games. But also, I think only if you make that mistake, you will realize it. So even if you're aware of it. So.
Yeah.
So in that sense, I wouldn't really change anything, but yeah, some minor improvements. Like it's a good lesson for me now to not make that same mistake.
So mostly your strengths turn out to be, you have to learn to abandon your strengths at the right moment.
Yeah.
So it might not work at some point, and there you have to abandon them.
Yeah, like in general, being ambitious is considered a good thing.
Yes.
As long as it does not turn into a hindrance. Yeah.
Yeah. So. What are your short-term and long-term goals in chess, and how do you plan to achieve them? So let's say before the next cycle starts in 2026. Right, so you'll have a year now, and while others are competing to come and fight against you, what are your plans at the time? And right now you're already achieved a lot, but you'll probably have a legacy to form. How do you see that in the long term?
Like long-term goal has, like I'm still nowhere close to that. Is to always become the best player in the world, and clearly there is a very very long way to go. So that is, and the process is also a goal, like to keep improving day by day and to keep keep pushing myself to reach my potential. Yeah, and result wise, I think like I could always improve my rating. It's still not like recently with the last two tournaments, even the match I lost some rating. So like I could always improve my rating, keep improving my game, and yeah. Also, in like next year there will be a lot of this year there will be a lot of very strong tournaments, very strong opposition. So yeah, just to keep playing as well as I can.
So the long-term goal, maybe we can rephrase that to be the best player of this generation and previous generations, because we don't know what will happen in the future.
Yeah.
But this generation and previous generation, to become the best player.
Yeah.
That's brilliant. As Chief Chess Officer of CircleChess, chess means different things to different people. What does chess mean to you personally, apart from it being a sport or a career?
I think for me, chess is just a part of who I am, part of me. I've spent so much time like with chess over the years that like even when I'm not consciously thinking about it, it's still in the back of my mind. Yeah, it's just a part of me. So. And yeah, the pure chess form, I think, like for me, there is nothing more like pleasing than seeing like a beautiful idea or a beautiful move, which I've never seen before. So, yeah, chess has this beauty which is just very fascinating.
Throughout your career, you've kind of worked on your mental game with your coaches and by your own practices. But especially for the match, it's a very big event. You had a very special mental coach. It's a Paddy Upton, right? Can you tell us a few things about your work with them?
Yeah, so Paddy, like we started working with Paddy once I qualified for the World Championship. Visprit Sandeep sir introduced us both, and like we started work together. And I think it was very important in the whole preparation part. What Paddy helped me to achieve this, and we used to have regular conversations, like every week or maybe even more than that. I could just say whatever I felt like. If I found something bothering, I could share with him. He has a lot of experience in elite sports, not in chess, but in many other sports, and most of these things are like connected. So he brought in a lot of this experience, and also he helped me in preparing for different situations in the match. Like we were prepared for all kinds of scenarios that could happen and how would I react to it. So, yeah, he played a very important role. And I think the mental side of the game is really, really good.
Yeah, we can say that's what made the whole difference in the end after 14 games. Thank you. Thank you, Gukesh, for this wonderful conversation.
Thank you.